Okay, there was there's an incident of a fire at Sweet Tooth. Did you want to, not that you caused it, but is there any, do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, so one of the windows, it was the window on the side of the building that we shared with Mazio's. So it was along that sidewalk. And it was kind of like, it was a bay window essentially. So it was great for displaying things. Um, we bought these lamps that looked like t-shirts. So it was probably like some kind of some sort of heavy duty paper something that looked like a t-shirt, you know, it was like in the shape of a t-shirt, and there's a light bulb on the inside of it. And so of course at night we had those on for anyone who was walking by the store. They could see them, etc. Apparently they were dysfunctional and caught on fire. And as it happened, there was a group of firefighters eating dinner at Mazio's next door. And so they immediately went into action and helped put out the fire. It was very small. It really was pretty much just contained to that window, thank goodness. And thank goodness for those firefighters eating pizza next door. But the big problem, of course, was all the, you know, smoke and that kind of damage. So I do recall a lot of cleaning had to take place, and a lot of like throwing away of things that unfortunately got smoke damage and things like that. So, but fortunately, no major structural damage to the store. But yeah, I think we learned a lesson about cheap t-shirt lamps.
Yes, definitely. And it was a good lesson to be learned. There was another thing that happened once with Mazio's next to us, is that the farm decided to insulate the wall between us and Mazio's. And were you there at that time? Do you know what happened?
Yeah. When we got there the next day, because they did it obviously after everybody had closed.
Right.
And when we got there the next day, in the back room, the giant back room, Mom's desk was up against the wall that was shared with Mazio's. And I guess no one realized that the wall on the Sweet Tooth side did not meet the ceiling. So there was a space. So the insulation company had blown a bunch of insulation into the wall, which then blew into the back room of Sweet Tooth because the wall did not meet the ceiling. So when we got there the next day, Mom's desk and everything else that was kind of right there was just covered in this insulation, and it was kind of a mess.
But to be fair, it was only like a mound of about 5 feet tall. So
yeah. It was super minor, you know, just a little bit of cleanup. So yeah, that was definitely one of those things of you walk in and that was not how you expected your day to go, that you would have to clean up insulation. So well, there you go.
Yeah, other thing with Mazio's too is interesting. I was just thinking, is your Zadie, your grandfather, would come by and sometimes around lunch, and we would go over and get a pizza for him at Mazio's. Is there any? It wasn't usual pizza, but it was a little different.
Yeah. He was not a fan of melted cheese. So he ordered his pizza, or we ordered his pizza with no cheese and anchovies. And I'm pretty sure the first few times the Mazio's staff just thought we were bonkers for ordering this pizza. But then, at a certain point, then they kind of caught on that this was, going to be a regular thing. And we were the people from next door, and it was for this guy who doesn't like melted cheese and for some reason is okay eating tiny little anchovies on his pizza. So they caught on. They got used to it, but first few times.
they were good with it. In fact, what was interesting is that you go outside Sweet Tooth and go about 5 feet, and that was the pickup window right there at Mazia. So it was like super quick, you know. And then of course we have this spacious back room. So the back room kind of you could always hear you could always smell the anchovies and pizza.
Yes. I don't know how appealing that was, but you know, it is what it was.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Sweet Tooth had a short time. We were at Woodland Hills in a little corner space. Now, you were involved in that a little bit?
Yeah. So we did that for the holidays, and it was a space right by the food court, which was actually a really good location because obviously the mall food court, everybody goes there. So we did have a lot of traffic and a lot of people, you know, coming by. Obviously, being in a mall, super different than our standalone, you know, locations. So there was definitely an adjustment there. And then after the holidays were over, we moved out of that space. We didn't keep that past the holidays, but we did do a kiosk, which, if I'm remembering correctly, was downstairs, somewhere kind of in the middle.
It was very close to the fountain.
Yes, it was. It was next to the fountain. For those of you who have been in Tulsa long enough to remember that Woodland Hills had a fountain, it does not exist anymore. And I was the one who opened the kiosk on Saturday mornings. I'm pretty sure I was in college at the time at TU. And so obviously couldn't really work during the week, but I would do the Saturday morning. And I don't know how many people have been to a mall in January on Saturday mornings, but it's real empty.
Not a lot.
not a lot. Not a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of mall walkers. And those people are super focused on what they're doing. So they are not the least bit interested in really anything else. But then, of course, you know, a little bit later in the morning, you'd start to get, you know, sort of the general public traffic. And I don't know how many people have worked a kiosk in a mall before. I know many of us probably have done this as we walk by the kiosks in the mall, and you don't make eye contact. And that happened a lot to me. I would be sitting there by myself at the kiosk, and people would sort of actively avoid coming over near the kiosk. I think, you know, they probably were just afraid that I was going to, you know, pounce on them.
Right.
Some sort of crazed salesperson. Little did they know that's not really my style. So, yeah, it was just really quiet. And we did that for, I think, a few months.
Yeah, we did it for too long.
Yeah, yes. And then we very rightly came to the conclusion that while being there during the holidays probably was super helpful, and, you know, definitely got our name out there, and people knew who we were at that point. Being there any other time of the year, really not our style, not our thing.
Yeah, and you talk about quiet, although the fountain was always right there, and the fountain was extremely loud. And in fact, somebody at some point when we were there put some detergent or something in the fountain.
Yeah.
Which, you know, of course, made a huge sudsy mess. Everyone boiled, you know, ran over it, everything. And so the farm was kind of looking at me thinking, because I hated the fountain so much, that I put the detergent in. Not true. I did not do that. I did not do that. And but they finally, I think they've wised up, and they don't have things like that inside malls just to create chaos and noise.
Yeah,